Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Senior Vice President, Worldwide Product Marketing for Apple Computers, Phil Schiller.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us here in LA today. We love to start off QuickTime Live each time with some fun content, either content that we found on the internet in QuickTime format, of which is so much, or from great partners who use QuickTime and have worked with us all along. And as you know, Lucas has done some tremendous stuff with Apple and QuickTime with Star Wars trailers and more. And that piece on R2D2 is so funny. And for those of you who are kind enough to stay with us to the end, we have another episode of it at the end when we're all done as you're leaving. Just great stuff. Well, again, welcome to QuickTime Live. Welcome to LA for those of you who traveled here. We'd like to come down here because so many of our content providers are here in LA, want to get together, have our own little conclave to talk about all things QuickTime, some of the great stuff that's going on, make some partnerships with people, meet people here, and see some of the stuff that's coming. Where are we going with this technology, and where's QuickTime headed? And I promise you today that at QuickTime Live, we will spend time doing exactly that. And not only talking about, but showing you some of the things to come in QuickTime and what that means, not only for all of us who work together, but the whole industry at large. QuickTime had a great deal with creating the industry that is now digital media. And I think what you'll see from today is it is well positioned and actively involved as a technology and Apple as a company in that future of digital media, both on traditional media like CDs and DVDs, as well as on the internet, and even on more exciting future devices. So, to begin with, I always like to start QuickTime Live by talking a little bit about where we are and the great momentum we see out there for QuickTime. It's also a great chance for us to bust a few of the myths that people like to perpetrate out there that simply aren't based in any reality or fact, and we have a lot to be proud of, all of us who create QuickTime and all of you who use it and do such amazing things with it. First of all, I think many of you know that QuickTime now is 1 decade old. It's had its 10-year birthday, and something we're very, very proud of. Because QuickTime started it all back in 1991. And we have listed up here on the slide a few of the major things we've done with QuickTime. We've listed some of the major releases. Of course, there have been many other releases and technologies in between since it's such an open and extensible product. But it all started in 91. Where some incredibly smart engineers had the foresight to do what no one else thought possible. They thought, what if we did it all in software, on a computer, and you could look at video, listen to audio, and as computers got faster and the networking got into it, this would just scale and scale to better and better solutions. At the time, no one else thought that way, and it was a real breakthrough. We had fun. We did codecs like our Road Pizza codec, which I still think is the best marketing name, and it's because it was invented by an engineer, not a marketer, the Road Pizza codec. And through the years, there's been so many things. We've done our bit for society by bringing it to the Windows marketplace and made sure they had good media too. And have added many great technologies, worked with many great partners on the way, Sorensen, Q Design, and so many more, and built in many, many standards that we'll talk about presently. Now, before we go on, I do want to point out one interesting piece of information. If you haven't heard, Apple is going to receive a Grammy this year. And that's something we're very, very proud of, our involvement with the creative community and their acceptance of the things we do. I bring it up here for just 2 quick reasons. Number one, we certainly hope that QuickTime and its role as a core technology of Apple's had a little bit to do with Apple's acceptance by the creative community and receiving this Grammy. But also throughout this presentation, as we normally do, we'll have a bunch of demonstrations for you, all using content. We decided it would be fun to use Grammy artists as the source for the content we'll show you. So throughout the next hour to hour and a half as we do our demos, one theme you'll notice is all the content are Grammy-nominated artists. And that's why we picked some of the cool things you'll see. Okay, back to momentum. So QuickTime distribution. One of the most important things we hear all the time is, can everyone get QuickTime? Is everyone using it? How does it do against other formats out there? And I think you've heard a lot of this, particularly of late, but QuickTime is doing incredibly well in this regard. Since we've started keeping track, and we cannot count all of it, there's been over 250 million versions of the QuickTime player distributed, over 250 million copies. That includes just downloads on the web, that includes copies that have been shipped out on CDs or with cameras and all the great places you find QuickTime and customers install it. So this isn't total downloads because there's much more. You can get a lot of components, and a lot of people come back for new versions. But this is what we see as over 250 million active QuickTime copies have been distributed out there, being used in the world. And the last version, the current version, QuickTime 5, has been the most popular of all. It has still not been a year yet, and we have now distributed over 115 million copies of QuickTime 5. Now this includes the roughly 80 million new copies and users of QuickTime on the internet, as well as distribution with a number of other media and sources that we'll talk about in just a few minutes. That's an amazing amount of software, an amazing number of people using this, no matter how you count it. So we had fun counting it a couple interesting ways. First of all, if you look at how much software that is, that's 318 million megabytes of QuickTime 5 that's been distributed since last April. That's a lot of bits. That's a lot of software. Over 318 terabytes. Now, if you yourself try to just download all that sitting at home on your cable modem or DSL modem, funny enough, it would take over 200 years to download that much software. So for those of you history buffs, and I'm sure there are many better than I, you'd know that you'd have to start around the time of the French Revolution downloading if you wanted to get up to all that QuickTime that's been downloaded since last April. So instead of doing that, you'd probably call in a few of your friends. If you asked every person in America, every man, woman, and child, to download QuickTime, they'd all have to download at least a megabyte per person to hit that kind of volume that we've had done since April. So just amazing, amazing traffic, amazing use of QuickTime, amazing number of people getting it. So no one can doubt that QuickTime is in the hands of anybody and everybody who needs to get access to media on the internet. In addition to that, one of the most powerful things about QuickTime is that it's an architecture that enables everyone else's applications too. There are so many applications out there, from our own software partners like Adobe, and you can just go through the list. Great people creating things like Mathematica for saving QuickTime movies. And just tens of thousands of applications have either accessed QuickTime or directly thousands of them include QuickTime with their product so that you can create content and view content. And one of the great things about the architecture of QuickTime, this will come up again later in the presentation, is that it automatically allows these applications to get the latest features just by its extensible nature. So we'll bring out a new version of QuickTime, and these applications will automatically get to use those features. Now, along with software applications, there are titles, games, and interactive experiences for kids in school that all license and include QuickTime. Tens of thousands of titles do this, have done this with QuickTime. In fact, we have titles every single day, hundreds of titles that come and get licenses from Apple every single day of the year to include with their product. QuickTime is what the majority of software in the world is built with. Just tremendously powerful piece of software. And then in the last couple of years, we've seen the rise of another piece of software and distribution, which is the music CDs we buy in stores. This is particularly popular over in Europe. Now include richer content on those discs that if you stick them into your computer, you can find more information and more content than in your CD player. And those are called enhanced CDs. The majority of all those enhanced CDs are made with QuickTime. And thousands of them have been distributed with QuickTime on them. When the customer sticks them in their computer, they install QuickTime and start to get that great experience. One other thing we told you at the last QuickTime Live we'd start to work on is digital cameras, because we saw the rise in digital cameras coming, and we saw from a number of these partners that they were interested in not only taking JPEG still pictures, but also being able to take short video clips and audio clips, and that this would be an increasing use of digital still cameras too. And so we've gone out and partnered with all of the major still cameras, and they are all using QuickTime as the format to do that. So as the millions and millions of cameras get out there and people start to take digital stills and digital video clips, they'll be doing it with QuickTime. There's over 150 models today shipping with QuickTime. There's no other media architecture that supports that. Now, one other important area of QuickTime distribution success is our own website. Apple.com/QuickTime is the home of QuickTime. And so we need to sort of keep track of that and see how's QuickTime doing. And I'm happy to report here at QuickTime Live that Apple.com/QuickTime is doing incredibly well. We get over 1.5 million page views per day to the QuickTime area of Apple.com. Just incredible traffic for people not only coming to get the software, but to find out what's happening in the world of QuickTime. And it's a great marketing venue for so many of our QuickTime partners. Now again, they come here first to get the software. It's over 300,000 new installs per day from QuickTime at Apple.com. Huge, huge traffic. I think when we all started this so long ago, we never imagined that 1/3 people per day, every single day since last April when we've delivered QuickTime 5 will be coming to get the software. Now you wonder, why do they come get the software? Some people suggest that there isn't enough content out there in the QuickTime format, that there are other formats that have more content. Well, you have to scratch your head and say, well, how can that be? How can you get all these downloads, more so than any other product, and yet all the content isn't out there? Well, again, I'm happy to report to you that they're flat wrong. First of all, we counted how many sites refer people to come get QuickTime at apple.com every single day. And so we'll only count a site once, even if they refer thousands of people. 28,000 websites per day point their customers to apple.com to come get QuickTime to watch content. 28,000 per day. That's not 28,000 total in the world. That's 28,000 per day. It could be a different 28,000 on the next day. On average, 28,000 per day. That's a lot of websites counting on Apple, counting on QuickTime, for counting on customers to come and get it so they can see the content that's out there on the web. Well, once we looked at this, we had another idea. But wouldn't it be fun to count how many websites have the different media formats on them? So that's what we did. We went to Hotbot, which has a tool in it to actually go out and count websites and the media on those websites. So we ran a search, you can do it yourself, on Hotbot to track the major formats out there on the internet, both stored and streaming media links on their websites. And again, if a website has more than one count of content, we don't count that multiple times. This is a count of sites with content in the formats they use. You see across the bottom here the three major formats used by three major companies in this: Microsoft.asf, Real Networks with .ram, and Apple QuickTime with .mov. Now, of course, we all play more formats than that. In fact, QuickTime plays a lot more formats than that, more than anyone else. But these are the three major formats, and doing any search will show you that those are the ones that show up the most. So how are we doing? Well, first of all, .asf on a Hotbot search showed up 57,400 sites with links to see .asf content, again, stored or streaming. Over 100,000 had .ram content for Real Networks content out there on the internet. So I think you can guess what's coming here. How many sites had content on them and links to content for .movs? Over 250,000 sites. Okay. So again, for those who hear the myth that QuickTime's doing great, you get a lot of downloads, but really there's more content out there for the other formats, that's simply not true. I'm sure there are many other searches and ways to look at this that you can find yourself, but at least with this search on Hotbot, there's more content out there for QuickTime than the other formats combined. And that, I think, is a testament to the technology we've made available, how open we've made it, how affordable we've made it, how easy to use we made it. So for example, the servers are a key part of this. As you know, we've made it very affordable, very easy to get into. The QuickTime streaming server is a product that we make available and include for free with macOS 10 server. We also provide it as part of an open source project called the Darwin Streaming Server. We've had over 300,000 downloads of that server. So that's not includes what ships with our products or with anyone else's products, but just downloads of the Darwin, both binary and open source streaming server. And what you'll find is a mixture out there of a whole open marketplace of QuickTime streaming servers. There are companies that have gotten actively involved and make their own server like Sun and IBM. There are companies that provide access to the server running on Windows and Linux like Red Hat, support for it from companies like Akamai. The reality is that this is the only server market with a large number of vendors all supporting one streaming server model. And it's because of the way we've made it open and free to the whole world. And I think that shows why we're getting all this great content. Free players, free server, open marketplace to get this stuff, and there's simply more content for QuickTime than any other format. The last time we all got together, we talked a bit about standards, because standards are really what's going to make this marketplace take off. We're seeing great success today, but there's still a lot of frustration with that success. And many of those of you who come here to QuickTime Live know about those frustrations, and you're here to help work through them. It's a real pain to have to deal with sending content in different formats. It's a real pain to have to figure out whose server to use, depending on what format you're going to pick. It's a real pain to figure out who's your distribution partner and what players the customers have, and make that all work. The world should not work that way. In truth, for most of the world, it doesn't work that way. So here's a hypothetical living room, and in that living room, there's a lot of very cool devices. So one way to understand the power of standards is to understand how we all vote with our own dollars every single day on whether to buy proprietary technologies or open standards. So let's look through the typical living room. A typical living room might have a CD player, or a stereo, a TV set, DVD players, surround sound, digital still cameras and video cameras, MP3 players, cool ones like the iPod. Right? Those things might show up in your living room. Most of those are in my living room. And the interesting thing is every one of those devices is made possible by an open standard. Whole companies are built around these products. They make great profits and revenues. There's great competition. And we all here in this room and on the internet watching, we all vote with our dollars every day to buy one of these things that are based on open standards because they interoperate, they can compete on features and price, but we don't have to worry that if I stick that DVD in that DVD player from one of the many vendors sitting there at Circuit City, that will it play it. Most of them will because it's a standard. And you see some of those. NTSC, thank goodness for NTSC helping deliver television to us. FM for delivering stereo radio. Redbook Audio for delivering CDs. The DV format for digital camcorders. JPEG for cameras. And of course, as we mentioned, QuickTime. And on and on. There are formats that allow us to create marketplaces. And we all actually vote with our dollars to support open formats without even thinking about it every single day of our life. A similar analogy can be made about the internet. The internet was founded on open standards, the internet and the web. Standards like IP, standards like HTTP and FTP and DNS. And you know what? Even though they're open standards, a lot of companies could build very viable businesses around these standards. Some companies grew even stronger and created more business for themselves by supporting these standards. Companies like Sun and AOL. And other companies were able to create whole new businesses and come into being because of these standards. Companies like eBay and Amazon and Yahoo. So very, very powerful companies have grown stronger. Other companies have grown up, as long as there's an open marketplace based on standards. So obviously you know where this is going. The streaming market has resisted that. It has not been like that. And you have three companies that are great companies, all trying their best, but having to make it themselves. In part because there haven't been standards to let them do that, but in part because it's easier to do it that way. It's the easy way. So Microsoft uses the .asf format, Real uses .ram, Apple uses .move, and it's easy and momentum has been going that way. But you know what? We have to resist that momentum because it's holding back the marketplace. And it's not making the best solution for content creators. It's not making the best solution for customers. So we have to move to standards. It's inevitable. It's not a choice. It's where we must go in order to truly maximize this business and make it as successful as things like TV, like stereo radio, like the DVD player. Now, some people always wonder, well, why is Apple, the company that's up here, talking so much about standards and pushing this in the streaming marketplace? Well, if you look back over the last few years, you might not be surprised that, in fact, Apple has been pushing standards in many, many areas, more so than most companies. To start with, you look at our own operating system. The next generation Mac OS 10, is built upon BSD Unix with an open source core called Darwin. We take active involvement in a number of open source projects like Apache, where we've delivered technology back to that open source movement. We've made our own technologies available where appropriate as open sources like FireWire, becoming 1394. We've made standards that were not being successful like USB. When Apple created the iMac, that really kick-started the USB marketplace. And we've even brought standards to market where everyone else is going a different way. And 802.11 and wireless networking is that way. Right now, everyone assumes, well, of course everybody's doing wireless networking. In fact, I know a guy of a computer company in Texas who likes to take credit that he came up with the idea. But we all know that's not true. We all know that Apple came out with Airport when everyone else was doing phone line networking and power line networking. What a horrible world that would be if kids in school had to plug in a power phone line at every desk in school in order to try to connect. Well, 802.11, Apple created Airport, made that standard work, and it's interoperable. You can have anyone's base stations, anybody's cards, you can build networks around this, and that's the way the marketplace should grow. QuickTime has also been about this. QuickTime has adopted more standards than any other media architecture. So while we have had our own .move format, and we have had things that we've built in there because it's the best tool of the time, like Sorensen and QDesign, we've also supplied as many standards available to all of you so you can use them. Things like H.263 and H.261, things like SMILE support for programmability, and on and on. More open standard support in QuickTime than any other format. But that's not been enough to really kickstart a broad open standards marketplace. We all know the next step in delivering that, and that's this technology called MPEG-4. And it's something that the marketplace has been working on, and it takes time. MPEG-1 took a while. MP3s really took off when? 97, 98 in a big way. That was a format from 1991. MPEG-2, finally in the last few years, has become the consumer device of choice in DVD players. It took a number of years since 94 when that was ratified. So we're in the process now of getting MPEG-4, going through the right steps to make it real. And today will be another step towards helping to drive that path towards open standards. Now, I think a lot of you know all about the MPEG-4 format. MPEG-1 came out in 91 based around a VHS quality, 1.5 megabit per second bandwidth, because that's what you needed to play video off a CD. And while that wasn't very popular in the US, in places like Asia, it was extremely popular to get video CDs, and then it opened a lot of new marketplaces. And of course, MPEG-2, the standard for DVDs, gave us breathtaking quality for digital video, but at bandwidths of on average about 6 megabit per second. That's great for a DVD player with all its bandwidth. It's not great for trying to do things over the internet or wireless solutions. So that's where MPEG-4 came from. To turn again to this motion picture experts group and ask them to create a standard based on the latest technology to try and get high quality video, video approaching that of what people expect with DVD, but scalable in its codecs so it can fit over a wide range of solutions, from the internet to stored media to wireless solutions. And so that was ratified in 1998. And of course, you know we're extremely proud that we offered up the Quicktime file format as the basis for that. And the Quicktime file format is a very open, extensible format based on objects. So your media and data types can be actual objects. You can expand it to meet all different scenarios and solutions, not locked into any one codec or one way of doing things, which hasn't been true of any other architecture. So that foresight from 1991 and the original Quicktime team is helping to drive the next generation of media standards. And since MPEG-4 is ratified, it's a very large spec, a lot of capabilities. A lot of people have started to build on that and build other solutions. So it already is starting to affect other industries. My favorite one right there at the top, we'll talk more about later, 3G phone networks, looking to MPEG-4 as the open video standard with a scalable solution that can work over wireless networks. And there are many, many other standards now looking to MPEG-4 as its signpost of how to go forward. In addition, as you know, a number of companies got together, initially 6 companies, 6 great companies up there got together to form the ISMA so that we can make sure that MPEG-4 rolls out and rolls out in a way that truly interoperates and lives up to what this complicated large spec makes possible. There's so many ways we can implement it. Let's make sure we implement it together intelligently and so it interoperates as customers would expect. And since that time last year when this all began, more and more companies have been joining the ISMA and agreeing to work together to make MPEG-4 an interoperable standard that we can all build the next generation media experience off of. Okay, with all of that as prelude, I think the place to take this is where are we going with QuickTime? What does this all have to do with QuickTime Live and the next versions of QuickTime? And so that would be the obvious place to go. And so we want to do something special here. We want to take some time to show you where QuickTime's going in a look that no one else has had to date, to open the kimono, so to speak, and give you a peek at QuickTime and where we're going. And the next version of QuickTime is something we're going to call QuickTime 6. Surprise, QuickTime 6. And we want to give you a preview, for those of you who are here, of what's to come, so you get this early look into QuickTime 6 and all its amazing technology, because so many of you build your business around QuickTime and you need to know where it's going. So what will be new in QuickTime 6? First and foremost, MPEG-4. We are going to deliver, in QuickTime 6, complete, full MPEG-4. A number of other features as well. MPEG-2 decode is something our customers have requested. Later version of Flash, a lot of quality and performance enhancements, but MPEG-4 is the big thing, to move this amazing, leading multimedia and streaming media platform to MPEG-4. And we've been hard at work at this, as some of you know, for a while, making QuickTime the best MPEG-4 implementation one could have. First of all is making sure there was true interoperability, working with our other ISMA partners to make sure that what we put out as MPEG-4, they'll be able to play. And make sure that what they create and work with in MPEG-4, QuickTime will be able to play, and we really live up to that standard. Second, making sure it's truly a first-class QuickTime citizen. And that means that all the things you're used to with QuickTime, the ability to decide to use a different audio codec and throw an MP3 sound file on track of your video, to splice together MPEG-4 with maybe MPEG-1 and Sorensen into one seamless clip. All these objects that work together in that file format truly all just work together. And we've made sure it was as fast as can be, certainly on our highest-end G4 machines, but also optimizing for G3 playback. And we've built in a tremendous number of features that we've been working on for quality, to deliver great quality to live up to the expectation of MPEG-4, of great quality at lower data rates. There's a number of them listed here. The most requested one is certainly single-pass DVR encoding. But there's many other things as well we've been working on to deliver great quality. Now, as many of you know, that along with video, there's also codecs for audio, a KELP codec and one of my favorites, a music codec, AAC. So one of the things we'll do with QuickTime 6 is to build in all these great new audio codecs for MPEG-4. And AAC, as you may know, comes from Dolby, taking advantage of Dolby signal processing. We'll accelerate that on the G4 chip, and again, add variable bitrate encoding, something people have wanted with QuickTime, to make those audio files higher quality at lower file sizes. We've been working really hard at that. Now, I want to take a step back to something we said earlier. QuickTime has this amazing capability to instantly empower all these other thousands of applications that use it. So when we deliver the next version of QuickTime, and it has this capabilities, now the entire marketplace of creative apps can all automatically play MPEG-4 and, more importantly, create MPEG-4 content without having to do any extra work themselves. That's one of the powers of QuickTime to enable an entire marketplace. So with that, I'd like to invite up Frank Casanova, the Director of QuickTime Product Marketing. You'll see Frank a few times this morning, and give us a demonstration of QuickTime 6 and the great technology you're going to see.
Thanks, Phil. Hey, everyone. Thanks for coming, and hey to everybody on the webcast. You know, Phil, as you came out here, our guys told us we had a few thousand people watching and growing. So, and an important person, hi Mom, I know you're watching. It's a thanks for using QuickTime. So, you know, the first part of our demo is going to be about MPEG video. And what we have with QuickTime 6 is the ability to play back MPEG-1, cross-platform, MPEG-2, cross-platform, and of course, encode-decode MPEG-4 video. And let's take a look at a couple of these different types of MPEGs that have come out over the years that had different targets, different data types, and different centers. And we can compare and contrast a few of them, and you can get a sense for where MPEG-4 is going to take us. So first, let's take a look at MPEG-1. So this is a video of a Grammy-nominated artist, Train. And as you can see, this standard-sized window. And we encoded this video to run at about, well, I think the file tells me exactly, 1.3 megabits. So this is pretty much the standard data rate that you would get from an MPEG-1 coming off a video CD. So let's let this play for a little bit.
She's back in the atmosphere with drops of Jupiter in her head. She acts like summer and walks like rain, reminds me that there's a time to change.
So it's as you would expect. I mean, all those beautiful retro artifacts, all the things that make, you know, MPEG-1, you know, the special format that it is. There's tons of it around the web. It's distributed still a lot on video CDs all over the world. And there it is. So what we have now, though, is that same video encoded at about 6 megabits in MPEG-2. Of course, a very different design center. You know, MPEG-2 is the format that we use on DVDs. Much higher bandwidth, much higher data rate, much bigger window. So let's click this one and play through a bit.
She's back in the atmosphere with drops of Jupiter in her head. She acts like summer and walks like rain, reminds me that there's a time to change.
Okay, so that's the exact same quality that you're familiar with. And now, of course, QuickTime 6, playing back MPEG-2. All you people that bug me at trade shows, you know who you are. Here it is. It's here. Okay, so the next demo is going to be about MPEG-4. Okay, far more scalable. The design centers for MPEG-1 kind of fixed, MPEG-2 kind of fixed. MPEG-4 is the streaming format for the internet. It's not fixed. It goes from modems all the way up well beyond MPEG-2 encoding sizes. So let's play back a couple of videos at the same time. Here's that same trained video here, encoded at 770 kilobits. And here's another one. We can play them at the same time. This one is at 4 megabits. So let's start these together, and you can get a sense for how things look in MPEG-4.
That she's back in the atmosphere with drops of Jupiter in her head. She acts like summer and walks like rain, reminds me that there's a time to change.
So what's important, let me stop this guy too. What's important here is just to notice that we've gone down to a data rate that you could easily get in your house with a DSL or cable modem, and certainly up to 4 megabits. You know, it's not quite what we showed with the MPEG-2, but it's certainly considerably better looking, even at 2/3 the size. Talking about MPEG-4 scalability, it's perfect for streaming over the web, where you have to deliver a bunch of different data rates to reach the broadest audience. So here's a couple of examples of some other MPEG videos we encoded. Let's see, we'll start with this one. So just beautiful quality. Let me show you one more. One of my favorites. It's about as close to heavy metal as I can get up here. Another Grammy-nominated artist, Linkin Park.
It starts with
one thing, I don't know why. It doesn't even matter how hard you try. Keep that in mind. I designed this rhyme to explain in due time. All I know, time is a valuable thing. Watch it fly by as the pendulum swings. Watch it count down to the end of the day. The clock takes life away. It's so unreal. Didn't look out below. Watch the time go right out the window. Trying to hold on, didn't even know I wasted it all just to watch you go. I kept everything inside, and even though I tried, it all fell apart. What it meant to be will eventually be a memory of a time I tried so hard and got so far.
Had to get some guitars in there, but it's just had to wait until the guitars came. It's all about the guitars. Okay, so, you know, what we didn't talk about much is the audio that was attached to those MPEG-4 videos, because I wanted you to really focus on the video quality. But the audio on all those MPEG-4 videos is the AAC codec that Phil talked about earlier, that just adds a whole new level of dynamic range to, you know, the kind of audio that we want with our files over the internet. So let's do a couple of specific audio demos, just with the AAC codec. And what we did is pulled an AIFF, uncompressed, raw audio file off a CD, and then we also took that same file and compressed it at 128 kilobits with the AAC codec. So let me get these set up here, launched together, and let's put that, we'll put the AIF at top. So now you gotta work with me on this demo, okay? Because I gotta play them one at a time. I've played them both. That's not how you make stereo. Video looks good together, audio doesn't sound good together. So at the top we have the AIFF uncompressed stream. At the bottom, we have the 128 kilobit encoded AAC demo. I'm going to start them at the same time, and I'm going to tab between them, okay? The one that has the little, oh, I'm pointing at the screen, and you can't tell what I'm doing. Can't you tell? These aqua buttons, when they're lit, that's the player that's playing. The one on the bottom is AAC. The one on the top is uncompressed. So if I Click up there, that's the uncompressed one playing. I'm going to start them together, they're going to start to stream, I'm going to shut up, and I'm going to tab between them, and you can just check out for yourself.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.
Everything I do so instinctive and so passionate. Every word I move so descriptive like an adjective. I got a vendetta against people who patented being negative when you should be getting after it. I got facts over tracks, this and that. Spitting slow, spitting fast. I could roast, I could gas. Think I'm okay at last, but I don't know if that can erase all the past. And the pettiness, a reflection of the emptiness. Hilarious, you think you're worth my time, you're delirious. Mysterious, because you hide behind a fake exterior. Inferior, you know I'll always be a bit superior. Get off of me, this ain't no humble brag. I want you to hear words, you can say them back. I want you to feel free from the chains at last, and to believe in what you got, it was built to last, yeah. Now that I've been put through hell, I never got anyone's help. I had to do it all myself.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.
Gonna learn the consequence of being incompetent. Mental health is confidence, dreams and some honestness. I'm not here to save the day, that's for you to take away. I could play a million mind games, but instead I say something not illogical, something that is topical. Rub it on and watch it go, make yourself unstoppable. Dreams are irresponsible, but they're always possible. If you just believe, you could be so remarkable.
Thoughts in my head, a collage and they spread. I'll be great one day, going off of my meds. No, I'm not giving up, no, I'm not giving in. I will make it to the top, taking off in the wind.
So you get the sense that this is pretty good, and much lower data rates than an MP3, higher quality, it's new math, it's exactly what should happen. Thanks a lot, I'll be back in a second.
Thanks, Frank. So what Frank just showed us is a preview of this amazing technology that will be completely integrated in QuickTime 6. MPEG-4 video, AAC audio, a number of other audio and technology formats as well, but the ability to take this whole market a major step forward on an entirely new technology base, a base that's scalable to all the different solutions we want, and a base that's open to anybody who wants to make a server, anyone who wants to make a player, anyone who wants to make caching services, internet distribution services. That's what the world needs, and the technology is now getting to the place where that's possible. Now here comes the interesting part of the day, and we're just going to tell you the open story of where we are, and you can all be part of this with us. As the only company really pushing this market forward, we're on the bleeding edge of this technology. And interestingly enough, the technology is just about done. We actually have complete a public preview we could have delivered today at the show. We have delivered a public preview. Our engineering team has worked their tails off and really done an amazing job. But we call it a preview because while it's ready for release, we're not going to deliver it today. It's a collective sigh. I know, I'm sorry. It is amazing technology, but it is delayed. And it's delayed not for technical reasons, but for licensing reasons. The MPEG-4 license is not complete yet. And in its current form, which the MPEG licensing authorities just announced in the last week, it hasn't met up to all of our expectations yet. So we've talked to a number of our customers. I've heard from emails and read comments on the web and gotten calls about this MPEG-4 video license that it still needs to be improved, that this is amazing technology and it needs an amazingly good license to go with it. So just to explain, for those who don't know what this is about, let me take one moment. The license for MPEG-4 that's been proposed, there isn't a final license yet, so there's still time for us all to affect this. The MPEG-4 video license has two major components to it. One is a set of codec royalties, which means a company like Apple or anyone else who chooses to follow our lead on this can deliver to you MPEG-4 video technology, and we'll pay a quarter for every decoder and a quarter for every encoder we give you, with caps that would make a total of about $2 million a year that Apple would have to pay. And we are happy to pay that. If that's all there was, we would do it today, and you would all have this technology in your hands. We think that's a reasonable price. I don't want to pay a lot more, but that's a reasonable price for a company like us to build key technology on and pay those who invented it. Unfortunately, there's also been a proposal by the MPEG-LA to add a second component to it. That in addition to Apple paying, that all of you should pay as well. Yes, I heard a few hisses out there. For those who don't know, the proposal is that for 2 cents per hour per stream, if you're remunerated, you need to pay this as well. And the complications around figuring out who's remunerated or not is quite complex. So we don't think that's right, and a number of our customers have told us they're not happy about this either, that this is a nascent industry. We're trying to kick it off, trying to get started, and we don't need to put roadblocks in the way for people, and this would be a major roadblock. So that is why we're not delivering QuickTime 6 as a public preview today, not because of the technology, which we've done an amazing job, but because the license isn't complete yet, and now's the time to affect the proposed license. So you can all play a part in this. You all can be part of making sure the right thing is done. Here is the email address. licensing@mpegla.com. Very nice people there will read your emails, and we certainly encourage you all, as we're doing, to constructively provide commentary to this organization about the great success we're about to all have if this best format has the best licensing model too, and we're not there yet. So that's what's happening with QuickTime 6. We don't want to uncover our customers with a licensing model they're not ready to accept yet, and while there's still time, and there is, let's change this and get it right so we can all move forward the way we want to. So that's QuickTime 6. Now, as you know, in addition to having a QuickTime client software, one of the things Apple does to create an entire solution for everybody is to deliver a server. And sure enough, we have a brand new server as well, called the QuickTime Streaming Server version 4. And QuickTime Streaming Server version 4 goes hand in hand with QuickTime 6 to deliver a lot of key features. Most importantly, this will also be the first open source, native, MPEG-4 streaming server. Exactly what you need to stream that stuff that you've seen so far. As well, of supporting all the MPEG-4 audio formats, many of you know the previous current QuickTime streaming server only supports MP3 streaming wrapped in a .mov file. With this product, you can just use native MP3 files. You don't have to wrap them in a .mov. And there's a number of other enhancements to make it easy to use and even more robust as an internet streaming architecture. Now, for example, here's the user interface. It's been updated. Very simple, very powerful, web-based management of your streaming server. And we're doing work just to make this so easy and so powerful, and yet, of course, still free to all of you. So again, I'd like to invite Frank back up on stage, as we will do a number of times today, to give you a quick demonstration of the QuickTime Streaming Server 4. Frank?
Thanks, Bill. Oh, thanks. That's my team applauding. Way to go, team. Raises for everybody. Not you guys, just them. Okay, so the server has a bunch of new features as well, and what we wanted to show off were 3 of them in particular. As Phil mentioned, we've been able to stream MP3s, but only as they were exported to a .mov, hinted, pushed to a server, and streamed back. But that's not the way MP3 streaming really works on the internet. What we've done now is introduced native MP3 streaming to QuickTime Streaming Server 4, and let me give you a quick demo of that. I can go down to our QuickTime player and go to open a URL, and you'll see on this list we have this ICE. That's the IceCast protocol URL type. And all I have to do, we have a streaming server in the back, and it's got a playlist running, a bunch of MP3s circulating through. And let's just see where we end up. That's not metal either. But what we've done is just attach to a live broadcast, and just like you would in your office or anywhere using whatever client you want, get attached to these MP3 streams, and that works just fine. But what if you wanted to do something a little more? What if you wanted to actually, create some kind of user-based front end? On my team, what we do a lot of things called listening parties, where labels, a lot of our partners on the East Coast and the West Coast send us CDs in advance of their release. We encode them and push them to the web, and we let artists let their albums preview over the internet, streaming in QuickTime. And we get some incredible audiences. Radiohead, over 100,000 people came. Megadeth, totally. We had about 25, 30,000, definitely, people showing up. Excellent. And we do these things, I mean, we've done as many as a dozen a week because they're so easy. But now we can enable our partners to do the same thing. What we can do with this QuickTime Streaming Server 4 is have playlists that you can reach into and set controls and let people decide what they want to hear. So let me show you an example. Here's a little HTML front end. And we're going to use this as well as iTunes, of course, our preferred MP3 playback system, to control in a virtual DJ fashion the playlist on the server again. So what I'm going to do is click play. iTunes is going to launch because that's where I actually want to see things take place. It's pre-buffering as iTunes does. And okay, we've connected to a feed. And I can use iTunes for visualizations or add my own MP3s off CDs. But let's go back to our little virtual DJ and let's go find some music. What do you say? Let's go find something, pick an artist. Sade. I was going to stop on Rod Stewart, man. All right. Sade, let's pick a song, King of Sorrow. Pick that. It tells me that it's an R&B song, the genre. It's 4.5 minutes long. Let's just request that song. It gets put in the playlist, add it up. And this is a lot like, the interface you would have at your local diner, where you put quarters in a machine and there's a jukebox somewhere in the back, and you're spooling up and building up a playlist that, if you stick around long enough, your music will play. Our labels can use this type of technology, well, certainly not our little prototype front end, to control their own listening parties. And it's going to really give them a lot of flexibility in doing these kinds of things. So let me quit that and go to our next demo. Back, I don't know, about a year and a half ago, we introduced a set of technologies called skip protection. And skip protection is a technology that acknowledges that there's bandwidth fluctuations as you're trying to watch streaming media and does its best that it can to provide a seamless streaming experience. So what I want to do is start a stream here. We'll go off into that same server in the back room. Let's grab an Aerosmith video. We'll start this, and what's happening now is our client and server are talking back and forth. We'll lower the volume a little bit. And skip protection understands that as bandwidth kind of evaporates, what you want to do is when you have excess bandwidth, faster than real time, download content to the client. Build up a buffer so when the bandwidth does evaporate, you're playing out of the local buffer. Much like our iPod or many CD players today, you have a hard time rattling those or shaking them to the point where you can't get them to skip because they read out of a buffer. Well, we're doing the same thing here, but over the web. And I'm about to shake it about as much as you can because I've got its lifeline right here. And we're just going to unplug this. And, yep, we're just going to unplug this. And all is well. There's nothing here, nothing in between. And, it's playing out of the client-side buffer. This is about as abrupt an interruption in service as you can get. And it's still going. That's fine. How much guts do you think I have? Not that much. Let's plug this back in. All of this negotiation is happening under the hood. You don't have to get involved at all. The detection of bandwidth, the reconnection, the resynchronization of the on-client side buffer. We didn't miss a frame, we didn't drop a bit, and everything happened automatically, in the back. So that's our skip protection technology, and now we're doing this with native MPEG-4 files, not just .move streams as we've done in the past. This technology extends beyond .moves to native MPEG-4 streams. Thanks.
Thanks, Frank. With the skip protection demo, it shows the capabilities of QuickTime to make MPEG-4 instantly a full native part of QuickTime and get all the benefits that brings to it. And so a decade of developing the most robust, most capable internet streaming and local media architecture automatically brings all those benefits to MPEG-4. We won't have to wait years again for someone to invent skip protection for MPEG-4, to invent all these capabilities. They all automatically come to MPEG-4 via QuickTime. The QuickTime Streaming Server, as before, is a product that will be available free, because that's how we make our streaming servers for all of you. But unlike QuickTime 6, the client side, we can deliver that to you today. The reason is very simple. The IP involved with the MPEG video and audio license don't actually have to be directly in the server. The server's not doing the encoding and decoding. It's just passing the bits along. So we've been able to update this new QuickTime Streaming Server, make it available as QuickTime Streaming Server in the open source Darwin Streaming Server, and that is available today. which again demonstrate that this technology is available and ready to move out into the marketplace. So for those of you who are server partners, you can get started now working on your servers, getting ready to deploy as we move out MPEG-4 as the server is here. Now, speaking of partners, I'd like to now take a few moments to include a few partners in our presentation. As you know, QuickTime, with this great use, all this great content, all these great customers, has allowed us to work with some of the world's most amazing companies. And with those companies to work on some incredible solutions. And in particular, we found there are a number of great partners out there who share the same vision of us of open standards and the markets and the technologies and the solutions they will enable. So we invited up 3 of them to each come up and talk a bit about the amazing things they're doing with open standards all around the same technology, partnering with Apple. The first company is a company well known to many of us, which is Sun. And Sun makes amazing server technology and distribution technology that has helped power the internet and help it to grow. And Sun's turning much of that expertise and that talent and that product sense to this world of open streaming. And they've been a great partner on the QuickTime streaming server, and I think you're going to learn that they're going to be a great partner with where we're going with open standards. So I'd like to invite up Ann Wettersten. She's the VP of Wireless and Content Delivery Networking at Sun. Ann?
Great. Good morning, and it's just terrific to be here in Hollywood talking about digital media and real-time streaming and wireless and content delivery networks. The opportunity in front of us is huge. Last year, there was over 2.5 billion video streams delivered, and the projections are to triple in the next couple of years to 8 billion. With standards, we will soon see real-time streaming everywhere, from cinemas to cell phones, because multimedia is going to be part of how we communicate and how we conduct business. Sun's vision is all around the service-driven network. It's all about helping our customers and our partners deliver applications and services across any kind of network, wireless, wireline, to any kind of device. It's all about the 3 C's and the 4 A's. It's about content, communication, and commerce being delivered to anyone, anywhere, anytime, on any device. Now, to deliver on a vision like this, you really need to create end-to-end solutions, all based on standards. And as Phil said earlier, standards are key because standards help drive the right economics. It helps create open communities for developers and really foster true innovation. Sun is all about standards. We're all about internet and network computing. Today, over 75% of the applications and the services on the internet run on Sun. We're a key driver in open standards bodies like the IETF with internet protocols and with the Java community process. And in wireless, 3GPP, and in the States here, 3GPP2, and the Mobile Wireless Forum. So we are really pleased to be teaming today with other industry leaders like Apple and Ericsson in creating end-to-end open solutions to be able to deliver multimedia over any IP network, wireless and wireline, onto any kind of device. So today what Sun is focusing on is the delivery engine to help us really deliver real-time streaming. We're going to be showing you some technology today, and that technology is in support of the MPEG-4 format, QuickTime, it's ISO compliant, fully support the specifications of the ISMA. It's wireless ready. It runs across any of our servers, so you can scale from a simple appliance all the way to a rock-solid, carrier-grade, high availability, high reliability, multi-CPU system. On a single server, we can stream over 10,000 high-quality 1 megabit streams. So to help me show some of that technology, I'd like to bring Frank back up on stage, and we're going to see a little bit of the technology and also talk about interoperability.
Thanks, Ann. Okay, on this machine, we have a copy of Final Cut Pro running, and of course, we've installed QuickTime 6. And so what we want to do is, we've worked, make believe, we've worked with this video. It's some DV content of a Nine Inch Nails concert. And let's just give a quick little preview. See what it looks like. It's heavy, it's dark, it's excellent. Okay, so if we just rewind this, it's in DV. And that's great when you're here, but it doesn't really help when you want to get out there because it's big. So what we want to do is use Final Cut Pro's export panels, export component, and transcode this out to a different format, a lighter weight format. So if I go to export and pick the QuickTime export, settings, I can say instead of a QuickTime movie, let's grab MPEG 4. Then what I can do is click in options, and you can see our engineering guys put together this incredible export panel of dialogues. Size of the video. This is going to be 1 megabit video, 30 frames per second. We're going to do 128 kilobit audio, et cetera, et cetera. And what I can do is just say that's okay. Let's name that, I guess, 9 Inch Nails. That'll work. And what we're going to do now is transcode. So QuickTime has leapt to life, QuickTime 6, and is transcoding from DV to MPEG 4. Remember what Phil said earlier, any one of these authoring tools, applications that install QuickTime 6 that use QuickTime automatically inherit MPEG 4. And that's everything from authoring apps like Final Cut Pro and iMovie, Adobe's apps, Avid's apps, all the way to people that you don't often think about with respect to standards like Microsoft. Microsoft Word, for example, can play back an MPEG 4 file. Figure.
So we saved it to a standard format.
Yeah, sorry, I get carried away here.
Okay.
Thanks for reeling me back
And we're
in.
going to drive it over to the Sun server.
What we're going to do is hide Final Cut Pro.
Yep.
And here's our file. What we're going to do is drop it on a Sun server and just stream it over. We asked Sun to bring a server. They brought a server. We thought maybe something cute and cuddly. No, there's that big guy over there. But we're really happy. So what we want to do now is let's go back to that server. Let's open up, we don't want that. We want QuickTime. And let's get that file. There it is. And what we're going to do is stream it back right from the Sun server. Again, totally transparent to anything other than the fact that it's all standards-based technology. This is the video we just created, playing back on our Macintosh, streaming from the Sun server, all ISO-compliant native MP4 content.
All over an IP network. And we spent a lot of time looking at media and entertainment, but also another really growing industry is that with enterprises, and they're really looking to deliver real-time streaming down to the desktop for corporate communications and for training. So you're really going to see this take off everywhere.
So, when we talk about, MPEG 4 as a standard going anywhere, it really means anywhere. So we have this file on the Sun server. It's an ISO-compliant, industry-standard MPEG file, which any device, an IP device, can grab.
So what's another device we have here?
We have one here. And it's a set-top box from our folks at Sigma Designs, another ISMA member. Yep. And it's right here, and we've created this little interface, and we switched over good. So what I can do now is this file, again, is living on your server, and now through this set-top box, and this box has a chip in it that is often found in DVD players. They've enabled it to play back MPEG 4. I'm just going to select that top video. And we're streaming from the Sun box to this set-top box over the network, playing it back on a television set. Again, just kind of demonstrating how standards can just let you go from a Final Cut Pro DV editing suite right to a set-top box. Pretty straightforward. Standards work. It's a good thing.
Great. So what we've just seen is really the ability to create once, store once, and stream anywhere. Sun is really pleased to be announcing an open beta program for the technology that you've just seen on stage. Here is a URL. Please download it, take a look at it, kick the tires. We'll also be demoing outside, and we have a track this afternoon. So we're really pleased to be partnering with Apple and Ericsson today, and the opportunity in front of us is just huge. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Alex. That certainly is truly amazing. The idea that now what you saw was an application automatically empowered to create MPEG-4 content, as simple as dragging a file, bringing it into the world of these great, huge Sun servers that power the internet, and then anyone else being able to create a device to read and play back that content. That kind of open source integration and open standards-based work has not been possible before, and now technology like MPEG-4, that's going to become possible. It's just the beginning as more and more companies get involved. And Ian mentioned something very important. Today, we will be making an announcement at the end of this keynote, go out in the wires, of Apple and Sun and Ericsson working together to deliver the first wireless content delivery network based on these technologies. Three of us coming together, all actively supporting this idea of MPEG-4 and open standards to create the solutions that will be the future of wireless networks. So certainly the company I'd like to invite up here is none other than Ericsson. I think we all know about Ericsson, and we're all used to the amazing handsets they make, and as end users of products of theirs, probably also don't know what a great network provider they are to other companies, that they build a lot of the infrastructure in the wireless world, as well as the devices many people use. So I'm very happy to invite up Patrick Kane. He's the VP of Strategic Business Development and Alliances at Ericsson. Patrick?
Very good. Thank you. Good morning. When you think of Ericsson, a lot of people think of terminal devices, and this is a very small portion of what we do, but a very critical piece. Because to get a device to work on a network, obviously it has to be built on standards. Ericsson lives by standards. We drive standards, and we drive our partners to establish standards that work. As networks migrate on the mobile side from the second generation to the third generation, the transition is really from a circuit switch network, which is a voice-centric type network, to a packet switch network. And obviously there's a lot of inherent standards that go along with it. The 3GPP is an organization that is implementing standards for this third generation of networks, and the reason why it's so critical, these are IP-based networks. So all the things that are working in the IP environment today can be transitioned with the appropriate standards in place to the mobile network. We've done something very exciting that you've heard alluded to. We've created the content delivery solution, which is basically put together with partners like Apple on the creation side with the media creation tools, Sun with their technology for streaming and implementing the streams down to the end user, and Ericsson with our knowledge of the mobile networks and our capability of leveraging that knowledge and making it simple for organizations like yourselves to participate in this great new opportunity. Within the content delivery solution, we have a network integration node. And what that does is save you the pain of understanding how a mobile network works and worry about what you do best, developing content. In this, we've also solved a huge problem that existed on the internet, and it has to do with a business model. And this business model also solves a problem for an operator, because as the operators transition from a voice-centric network to a data-centric network, obviously they need more than voice to populate that network. They need content. They need traffic on the network, because without traffic, the network is empty and they're making no money. The business model that's put in play with the integration node is the access to the network elements that operators have. Operators have millions of subscribers that they have a relationship with. They offer services to those subscribers, and they bill them for the services. That's the key element that's been missing in the internet. Because what we've basically done, we've created a bridge between the media organization and the mobile networks. So it allows people that develop content to deliver content over the mobile networks and be compensated for it. And what we're asking you today is to walk across that bridge with us, because we spent a lot of time thinking out the process. What we're going to basically do in this, we're changing the business model at the operator side also, because as we've transitioned from a voice network into a network that carries enriched content, we've transferred the relationship that you, the user, has with your terminal device from just something with your ear to something that involves your eyes also. So we've created a multimedia device, which you'll see later on in the presentation of how that works. And we've developed a prototype of this solution that we're going to show today. Now, I'm going to ask Frank to come up and join me to do this. But to give you a little background on it, he loves this anyhow.
It's going to be a big paycheck.
Exactly.
3 companies.
But let me tell you what we've done. You know, obviously, you don't see a third-generation network running anywhere in the U.S. So obviously, we couldn't plug into that. We could do it under emulation, but everybody here is from Kansas and they want to be shown. So what we've done is use 802.11 technology, and we're going to run this end-to-end solution to a target device here running an ARM processor at 64 kilobits, as you saw the compression earlier.
Okay. So I'll just launch the 3GPP player. We're getting this file off the Sun server, and it's streaming over our network here and playing back. Important to point out, this is the 3GPP specified codec, AMR, with MPEG video playing back together as it would on a mobile device or mobile terminal as the 3G networks deploy and roll out.
Great.
Okay, just let it go there.
The beauty of it is the target technology, the target device can be any device you choose to use, because it's all built on standards. And to hear more about this solution, there's a track today at 2:15 that is going to be put on jointly by Sun and Ericsson. So you can learn more about the solution. But you sit here also and you wonder how you can get involved. Ericsson's got a network that is global of an organization called Mobility World. And what Mobility World does is allow content providers and developers to work with Ericsson, adhere to standards, learn about the solutions that we have, and be introduced to the operators. And as an example, some of these operators have achieved levels of over 100 million subscribers on a single network. Sounds pretty attractive. Why don't you join us?
So it just keeps building on each other, the ability to create this content on a Mac, put it on a Sun server, stream it over an IP network to any device, that device can now be wireless and can show the path to how we start to get wireless video in the hands of so many customers, audio and video, all based on open standards. I do find it humorous that the good folks at Ericsson decided as one of the demo devices to use something that actually runs a Microsoft operating system, yet isn't using any of the Microsoft technologies. They're actually using open standards. And that's what this world can bring. Any device can support this standard, even those. So, thank you very much for that wonderful technology and demo. We have one more, and I'm very excited. This person's traveled quite a long way to join us and talk to us and show us some amazing things. The company is NTT Docomo. I think many of you know the large global international company NTT. In particular, the Docomo service has been just a breakthrough product in Japan as well as other areas of the world, involving so many millions of subscribers and new services and new businesses, things that people never thought possible. They're doing for millions and millions of customers. So I'm extremely proud to introduce Dr. Eto, who's come from Japan. He's the director of their multimedia signal processing laboratory. Dr. Eto.
Yep. Thank you for the introduction. Good morning, Quicktime folks. I'm Eto, in charge of R&D activities on media coding technologies and related systems. So on behalf of our business executive, let me take a few minutes to introduce our content delivery services and its relation to Quicktime technologies. So first of all, let me show you a video message from Mr. Natsuno from NTT Docomo, who is one of 3 founders of iMode service, and also he's a star of multimedia field. So video message, please.
Hello everyone. My name is Takeshi Natsuno, Managing Director of NTT Docomo, but everyone calls me founder of iMode. As you know, we have successfully introduced wireless internet access service in Japan, and we have already acquired more than 30 million subscribers in Japan, actually using these devices to access the internet. But we are now going into 3G. And in 3G, we need richer applications like motion pictures or still graphics. And in this context, we are highly appreciating Apple's contribution to implement these technologies, and we hope these technologies would generate real market in near future. Finally, I wish the great success of Quicktime Live. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you for your attention. So, as expressed by Mr. Natsuno, in thanking Apple for their contributions to the mobile multimedia, Apple has made extensive effort towards standardization, especially for MPEG and 3GPP. Here, let me comment on why iMode HTML, iMode service is widely accepted by our customers. One of the major reasons is that format is open to the public and well specified. As you may know, iMode HTML is based on W3C standard. So, such an open format is very essential for stimulating mass market products as well as mobile devices. All of us appreciate the interoperability of mobile content and wide availability of authoring tools and stability of our service. As a result, 30 million iMode subscribers are now enjoying iMode HTML content created by wide range of developers. That's the point. In that sense, NTT Docomo expects with Apple that such open format, open standard, including MPEG-4, will be seen as very powerful standard for mobile content delivery, authoring, and playback. NTT Docomo's operations are now conducting research on file formats, media coding technologies based on several standards towards delivery of cool content of over the 3G mobile network. So let me show you our prototype prepared for iMotion service, especially that is use MP4 file format. Okay, thanks. Okay, let me operate here. Menu. Yes, this one. Good.
It's time for the Thursday Mobile News.
Yeah, this content is especially prepared for this presentation.
And it looks like this weekend will be the peak of the season.
Unfortunately, there's a low-pressure zone that will bring a cold spell to the Sea of Japan area this weekend. Hokkaido and the Sea of Japan area could see their first snowfall of the year. Now, let's look at today's news.
It's so beautiful. We've got the best college viewpoints for you coming up.
Hot air balloons color the sky. There are more than 400 up there.
Where's our live broadcast from today?
Okay, this afternoon. Thanks so much. Thank you. So this afternoon, NTT Docomo invite you to come to our session for detailed iMode services and iMotion services. So please join us. And to conclude my speech, our goal is to serve 40 million customers with rich mobile content. So thank you for your attention.
Eto-san and his team has just really done a marvelous thing by allowing us to see this prototype. You're among the first in the world to get the opportunity to see a mobile cell phone that plays MPEG video and can really paint the path to where we're going and why we're behind all these standards. That's one of the great things that's shared by these incredible companies and Apple as a joint resolve to make standards the basis for which we can deliver these amazing new services. Imagine the capability, and we all have imagined this capability, of our customers, whether on Macs or PCs, creating content, creating videos, creating cool things they want to share from their companies out to a wide range of users on PDAs and cell phones around the world, and the technology being in place to do that. We do have that capability right now in front of us. So we've shown you two products today, the preview of QuickTime 6 and the release of QuickTime Streaming Server 4 to support that. Before we're done, we have one last product that we would like to show to you. It is another preview because it is built on top of some of this technology, but it's really appropriate here at the show to show a product that so many of you have asked us for. And it's something to add to the stable of QuickTime solutions to make this all just seamlessly work together. Now, this will be a product that we have not had a lot of chance to put together and demonstrate to anyone else before. So hopefully we'll all keep our fingers crossed and it will go beautifully because the team has worked so hard on it. It is a product we call the QuickTime Broadcaster. And in response to so many requests to develop a product like this, what the QuickTime Broadcaster does is allows you on a Mac, running Mac OS X, to set up a machine to be both a broadcaster and, if you want the easiest to use setup, also run the QuickTime Streaming Server. So in one system, you plug in a camera over FireWire, and whether it's for your house, your dorm, your small business, your enterprise, your university, you can create your own live broadcast using some very, very simple, easy-to-use tools. Further, you can start to expand that because it's very scalable. You can decide to separate the machine that's running the broadcast software from the machine that's running the server, and you can decide to have more servers, provide video on demand as well, or perhaps you want to have multiple broadcasters feeding the same server, running different data rates. You have complete flexibility in any way you want to do this. And you can expand all the way up to your broadcaster feeding into a partner you have for content delivery network. We just saw some amazing examples of what some of the content delivery networks you're going to see in the future are. And you have the ability with the QuickTime Broadcaster to create your live broadcast, your own live event that can go from your house to your school to the entire world. It will scale that far. But of course, Apple is incredibly ingenious at making these things easy to use. And for many people, it can be as simple as this little window that has just a couple pull-down menus and a broadcast button. And that's all you need to do to get in and create your own broadcast. Anyone can do this. It's a lot easier than my son trying to play Quake. I tell you, there's fewer examples and fewer settings on this than even that. So I tell you, any 5-year-old can create their own broadcast if they want. But of course, some of our customers are older than that. And they like to get in there and twiddle to their heart's content and play with the settings. And you saw some of the settings Frank exposed from inside Final Cut Pro. You have all that power and more inside the broadcaster for tuning the exact experience you want in a live broadcast. So the QuickTime Broadcaster is an amazing product. It has a wide array of features. We don't have time to go into them all. The most important one is the first one. It also is built on top of QuickTime 6. That's why this is a preview. And on top of QuickTime 6, it automatically supports MPEG-4. So it will be the world's first live broadcast solution for MPEG-4. In fact, it supports all of QuickTime's codecs. So while there are other broadcasters in the world, they're all tuned to one specific format, and that's all they do. With QuickTime, you have all these great formats led now by the up-and-coming MPEG-4, and you can choose whatever you want to broadcast. H.263, H.261, Sorensen, MPEG-4, you choose, and you can do that from within the new QuickTime Broadcaster. Again, there's tremendous power to do unicast, multicast streams, for it to be a relay server, to program it automatically in AppleScript with an automated workflow. All that power is there for you. And for one last time, I'd like to bring up again, appearing today on the stage, Frank Casanova.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, on this machine, we have our QuickTime Broadcaster running. You can see we have a camera plugged in the back, any FireWire camera plugging right into a Mac, cycles the feed through so you can get a kind of a preview of what's going on. You saw in Phil's larger reveal the various tabs we have, and in this one is for audio settings, and of course, since this is built on QuickTime, we can reach into QuickTime and pull up any one of the audio compressors that we want to use, or we can go over and click on video, and again, there's a bunch of different video settings that let you kind of tweak and control your webcast experience, as well as the various codecs. And of course, in here we have MPEG-4 video. And so, you know, I could either demo this by streaming myself waving or you guys waving, but we figured we'd do something a little more interesting. So instead of doing that, what we put together was kind of a little mock environment, a little make-believe setting. There's a lot of hockey fans at Apple, and so we put together a little environment that I'll go find on the web here. Watch QuickTime Player. And so let's connect to this feed, make sure everything's going okay. All right, so probably waiting patiently somewhere on planet Earth is Rhonda Stratton and Tom Gauguin, two guys from our marketing group. And they're sitting there just waiting for some cue from the satellite truck. Actually, they're waiting on a cue from me because they're actually sitting right back there behind that curtain. And you can get a sense for what we're trying to do here. So let me just start up the broadcast again. We're rebuffering, and Rhonda, it's over to you.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to QuickTime Live. And we're here on the ice, ready to do an interview with this is an explanation of the broadcaster. What we have here is a DV camera hooked via FireWire to a titanium PowerBook running OS X server, the QuickTime broadcaster, and the QuickTime streaming server. It's a really easy setup, and I could actually be a reporter out on the road and a broadcaster all in one person. My camera, my titanium, and I'm on my way. And Tom's going to tell you about the cool network we've got set up.
So what I think is really cool, Rhonda, is that the whole setup from here is being broadcast from the titanium notebook up to a wireless network, a standard 802.11b network. We have an airport base station over on stage here, and we're broadcasting to it. Then what you see over on stage behind Frank is his computer picking up the broadcast off the network and going from there. Now Phil, to show you that there are no strings attached, actually has another titanium notebook up on stage pulling down this broadcast. So I think that's amazing technology.
That is really incredibly cool. And one of the things that some of you are sitting here, you might notice, there is a 3-second delay. How often do you ever see
4-second delay, 5-second delay. Back to us. All yours.
Well, I promised you we'd be pushing the bounds of the technology and on the cutting edge. You are the first in the world to see this new product, to see it happening. And again, it's amazing how this technology is so scalable and builds on each other. So the QuickTime broadcaster builds on top of QuickTime 6 and uses what you've just seen, the very first ever live MPEG-4 broadcast of content. I mean, that's quite amazing. And we ran it all on a PowerBook. If we wanted a maximum performance capabilities, we could put it on a really cool, badass, dual gigahertz PowerMac G4 machine. But we didn't. We wanted to show you a portable. We have so many customers who go in the field with solutions in education and in broadcasting, a portable PowerBook running the broadcaster, running the server, wirelessly. There's no networking set up there on stage for them. Wirelessly, setting that over airport in 802.11 and us receiving it here on stage. Just incredible technology. So while this is a preview, we do want to do something we don't usually do, is tell you a little bit about how the pricing will be in advance of our delivering it. And after much thought and consternation, we decided to make it free. I know we're crazy. Crazy Phil and Frank's pricing, but we decided to do that. Now again, I will say it's delayed because it's all built on top of this MPEG-4 technology, and we have to do our bit and get that licensing improved so we can get it all out to you. So that rounds up the 3 products we wanted to tell you about today, and they fit together amazingly well. QuickTime 6, the streaming server 4 that's available now as well as on Darwin, and the QuickTime broadcaster. And only Apple has the ability of anyone in this business to take the next generation technologies like MPEG-4, like AAC, like CELP, and all of these technologies that so many companies that can build future products on, companies like Sun and Ericsson and NTT Docomo, and put it all together in one easy to use, one free solution that all works together with amazing quality, amazing ease of use, and have the power to get this out to hundreds of millions of people in 1 year. This truly is amazing in our ability to throw it all together, engineer it, and then get it out and change the industry with one release. And that's what's going to happen. I have no doubt. We're all going to work on this licensing issue, but I have no doubt that this is the path. This is the right way to go, and this is the set of products that's going to unleash a real revolution in video, both on the internet as well as on wireless mobile devices like PDAs and cell phones. And we're all going to go together and make this happen. And I think all of you are here today at the show and throughout the next couple of days to talk about how we do that together, to involve with these great companies, to talk to some of the other QuickTime partners, and see how this changes your products and the things you choose to do. So with that, I thank you all for enjoying staying with us here and enjoying this keynote. I think the team worked incredibly hard on some amazing demos. The engineering team continues to innovate in a way that no one else in this business is doing, to take the chances on where the future needs to be and try to invent that future together. And hopefully we'll all do that over the next year. When we come back together again, you'll see that we have changed the world of media, and now everyone is getting on board with the strategy we stuck out with first. And last, as I said, when we're done here, for those who want to stay, we have another one of these great R2-D2 videos you can enjoy. So thank you very much.